in any sort of uniform or benevolent way. Not truly, right? So I've taken this on where it blew my mind, and I wanted to see if I could reproduce this days later. So I park over near in the dark over near this coffee shop and randomly pick out these three girls. Was it random, right? And I begin to draw this pentagram on the window in front of them, and they are going as far, especially the one on the far right was going as far as to trace the shape, and I'm 30 feet away in the dark. um, they look like they're just grabbing a cup of coffee, visiting, but they're getting right back to their studies, right? But what are their studies really about? They're most likely Monterey Institute of International Studies students studying language. What is that large language model held back to? How was it produced? What are they really saying? Who is going to be good at this? Who's not going to be good at this? This hails back to a direct download, which everything does. How is it that these dingbats can seemingly take up large bits of information and understand things? And that's where years ago I was looking at it going, this it's all mathematics, it's all language, it's all geography, it's all this shit that they recreate over and over again that hails back to a central figure that is complete and total. It's nonsense, is what it is. So um, I was able to reproduce this to the point where I was able to, and when I say I, was it I? Were there other entities, muses, jinn, that are talked about throughout antiquity? It's like it's maddening to look at the reoccurrence of this and to see that this is in everyday life. You right now, right here, that you're not removed from it just because you're listening to this. That in the future, it's linked up with the future to such a degree that people in the future are going to be postulating the same thing, and the recruitment process is all the same. But I digress. When I was going through this application, it became undeniable because I could continue to draw this on the window, and to the point where this girl's kind of looking around like, what the hell? Like, who's doing this? Who's interacting with us? I postulated this to my son, because he's a writer and so forth, and a science fiction writer. And I'm asking him, what do you think about it? And his outcome at his age right now, and I know that people will come out with a completely different observational field later in life, no matter what walk they're on, no matter how selfish they may be in their pursuits, and how much they sort of um, regress into this cowering down to this all-seeing eye, or this source of dark black magic, right? And how much they want to pretend that they're not when they know they are, right? But I posited this, and he was simply saying that it's things that we don't understand as far as thought and mental mind operation, that emotion and intention, just from one person to the next, that it was more localized. But he just can't see it, right? He can't see it yet. And then you rue the day when he can see it, and ultimately you know who he serves, right? So this supplication to this dark feminine force, that's who you serve. You see it every single day. You wake up with it. You're a warlock. Like, you supplicate, you capitulate to the energy just to be able to get on with the day. And most people have done this. They have sold out. Whereas the ones who won't sell out, can't sell out, it's not in them to sell out, are made as a mechanism of, this is what happens, as an example of, this is what happens when you don't. This, you want to follow the truth? Look at how failed your father is, when your father just wanted the best for you. But in carrying this pure white light of reason, as they say, you're really doing is you're reinterpreting this, like Jason Reza Giorgiani, into a Luciferian light, right? And that we really are looking at this tie that goes toward this Ahrimanic procedural process of sort of um, like this um, yeah, I can't think of the word, but it's like this precision and this exactitude of how you have to lay things out, much like teachers would go about teaching students in cursive, how important it was that you were able to do this cursive entirely correctly, when you see that it was just expressing themselves, but it was forcing the notion that you are a part of a decades long cultural um, procession about that's locking you into time, and that 30 years from now nobody will be doing cursive at all. No one will even know what the hell it is, right? So um, it's this phenomenon, and I'm trying to remember this word, and it's just not coming to me. Ductilio or punctilio, yeah. It's this militaristic sort of way of doing things, as a stickler, to be able to say that this energy has to be done exactly this way. And then when you look at it, you're like, that was ridiculous that I was forced through aggressive means to do something a particular way, to go through this item of event, to do it so precisely, and it really rendered and equaled nothing. So we become jealous of people who sold out a long time ago. We become jealous of these people. And so I took this on to where I realized that if this shape, if this form is posited as something that's happening, a phenomenon that's happening, then I need to look further at the phenomenon that's occurring, or the noumena, the things that are happening outside of me as phenomenon, to then start to really take seriously what's going on around me that most people just look past entirely. So there's that movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, right? That came out in 2022, that posits this type of thing, where an ultimate power linked in with technology is that you would do something that was so outlandish, so bizarre, that you might, in the movie, literally, that you might pick up gum from underneath a table and put it in your mouth and chew it, right? It's like, how many people would do that? None. So that makes you more of an individual, right? That makes the procession that you're walking with something that, right? So you get into this area of absurdism. And then if you were to continue on with that, you'd begin to look at mental hospitals. You would look at people who did not go along with this energy ever, who defied this energy in their very existence, and would not stay on this syllogistic path. In fact, they weren't considered non sequitur at all, because they wouldn't stay on the path. There's no breaking from the path, and they're considered insane, right? They're talking about things and carrying on with certain subjects because they are ostracized and held outside the pure truth that they live by, right? And that they are made example of, where you have the wrong people in this succession of energy. So then there's people who break off into this chiral potentiality of universes that say that there's a whole chiral universe that is following this positive notion, that is following this pure state of being, that the inverted pentagram and the way of this very dark, malevolent black magic force doesn't rule there, right? And then you get into the areas of multiverses, then you get into this sort of block universe, and then you get into this area where possibly even there are hubs of potentials that sort of cleave off from, in these forks, from a main central hub, where all these probabilities, through sort of waste bucket or basket, where all these probabilities have to exist and have to take place, but that they don't feed back into this main potential. That it is sort of like the waste of this central hub, of this central universal property, the kingdom, heaven, the most perfect or pure state, that would in itself create this sort of waste water or refraction, these liquid elements that would drift off into these gas and nebulous states of quantum potentials that would never come to be.